Bradley then started to take control. He birdied 13 and 15. Brevy hit all 6 of the back 9 greens in regulation, but like we said, that what looked like a bushel basket for a hole on Saturday looked like a shot glass on
Sunday.
On Sunday.
Yikes!
Did not capitalize on any of his birdie putts. They stood on the par 3 16th hole, and Reevy's lead was down to 1 shot over Bradley.
Wow.
Bradley's shot went over the green, but he chipped up within a couple of feet to make par. Reevy missed yet another birdie putt. So his chance to get maybe a 2-shot lead, or if Bradley doesn't hit a good chip, maybe back to a 3-shot lead, a little breathing room.
Right. It evaporated. Yeah.
It didn't happen. It was still 1. They went to the 17th hole, and Bradley aimed well left of the water with his tee ball, figuring I'll make sure that I give myself a don't put it in the lake.
Comfortable cushion, yeah.
Found himself in the fairway bunker with a shot from out of a fairway bunker over water to the green. Didn't wind up so well. He hit his shot over the green, which is not unusual.
Right.
You know, when you're
pushing hard.
The last thing you don't want to do is hit it in the water, because then it's really over.
Right.
He hit it over the green, failed to get up and down, and Reevy hit a nice approach shot and finally made a birdie putt. Made a 14-foot birdie putt, and his lead went from 1 to 3, and he wound up with a 4-shot advantage by the time all was said and done.
Wow.
And
talk about give and take.
Took home another nice check. You know, you think about it. That's got to be a lot of pressure. I mean, you haven't won in 11 years,
right?
And here you are. You're starting Sunday with basically, I can just walk through the park, you know,
right?
And next thing you know, somebody else starts playing really well, and you're playing with the guy. So it's like, okay, we're, you know,
ruh-roh.
I mean, you know, obviously you know, in golf, unlike most other sports, you can't control what the other guy does,
right?
I mean, you know. In tennis, you can hit it where the guy's not, or try something different. But in golf, it's basically you're hitting your own ball. You can't stop what he's doing. And if he's playing real well, the only chance you really have is if you can hit a few good shots and maybe put some pressure on him,
right, to
do something that the other person's not comfortable with. You know, maybe, okay, I got a 2-shot lead or a 3-shot lead, and I'm on the green. Now he's knows that, all right, I got to hit it close if I'm going to gain a stroke here, or at least keep even with him. But he jumps from 222nd to 126 on the FedEx Cup standings. So not too bad. So, but congratulations to Chaz Reevy. I mean, yeah, like I said,
11 years.
You would think, a 6-shot lead would be pretty safe, but not. I guess it's like the NBA. You know, you got a 16-point lead, but yeah, it's only the third quarter. Forget about it. We're only going to watch the last 2 minutes because it's probably going to go back and forth.
Right. Absolutely.
So congratulations to Chaz Reevy. Not too shabby.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned earlier, Jordan Spieth is going to take a little time off. He said it's not how he planned his summer to go, but he's going to take a short break in hopes of resetting his game. He had 3 consecutive top 10 finishes going into the U.S. Open, but didn't happen.
Yeah.
Did not play well. Did not play all that well at the U.S. Open. Missed the cut this past week at the Travelers, and has decided that he needs to extend his break and take some time off until the Open. So he's not going to play until the British Open, at least not in an official event. So he's going to take some time off, recharge.
And the British Open is when?
It's the middle of July, so we're 4 weeks out. So
all right, so he's got
a
couple weeks to kind of get his game.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how he said he was encouraged by his game earlier in the year, a little earlier in the summer,
right?
But his short game and putting, which was keeping him in the game. He's not been striking the ball very well. And, the problem is eventually he catches up to you. Jordan Spieth ranks 182nd in strokes gained off the tee, which means he's not hitting the ball in the fairway or giving himself a chance, to attack a green very well. He's 147th in strokes gained from tee to green and 197th. I didn't even know there were 197 guys to rank on the PGA Tour in fairways hit. So we know what his problem is. This is the big stick. He's not hitting his driver well at all.
Right.
And they say, you drive for show, you putt for dough. But if you don't drive it well, you ain't going to have a putt to putt for dough.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. So he says he may decide to play the John Deere Classic, which is the week before the Open Championship. But he doesn't have to commit to that till a week before. So we'll see what happens. Here's a guy that, like we said, he's struggled a little bit, and it's caught up to him now.
Yeah.
If you remember at the U.S. Open, Victor Hovland from Norway, or the Netherlands, I'm sorry, from the Netherlands, was one of the low amateurs at the U.S. Open Championship. I believe he was the low amateur. Played very, very well, and decided to turn pro after the U.S. Open, and made his professional debut at the Travelers Championship, along with Matthew Wolff. And let's see. I do not see how well he did. Missed the cut. But, we'll see what happens. I mean, he said some other big names have missed the cut in their first pro event. So he's not he's only 20 years old. He's only 20 years old. So he's got a little bit of time left. He's got a chance. I think he'll be all right. Let's see here. What else is going on? There's a lot going on. The European Tour has introduced a Ryder Cup committee. And the U.S. came up with a committee years ago when they got tired of getting beat like a drum by the European contingent in the Ryder Cup, to try to figure out a better way to A, select the players, and B, kind of team them together. To kind of figure out, here's how we're gonna, we got to put guys that have similar games together in the team, the partner events and all that. So apparently the Ryder Cup committee is going to not only do that, but they're also going to try to enhance the commercial and brand value of the match.
Well, that's important.
Like the PGA of America doesn't make enough money off this thing. They're now going to try to brand it and make even more.
Well, enhance, is that another word for saying charge more?
That I don't know. But yeah, it could be.
It could be. Another phraseology for charging more.
Yeah. The 53-year-old Jose Maria Olazabal shot under par for the first time in a European Tour event since the 2017 Portugal Masters. He's won the Masters twice. He came back from a foot injury that a lot of people thought was going to end his career, and won the Masters. So he's used to struggles, and apparently he's been hampered by some more injuries in the last few years. We'll have to see.
Right.
We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, the winning the BMW there must have been really cool. A guy named Gags Bueller.
What a name.
It's in euros. $194,000 or 194,000 euros is what this car is worth, which equates to about $160,000. That's a pretty nice. I made a hole in one, and all I got to do was buy my son lunch. It's like, what the heck, man? I want my money back.
Right.
I want my hole in one back. I want to make it when it counts a little more. But let's see.
That's too funny.
Yeah. Ian Poulter. A lot of people know Ian. He's one of the stalwarts on the European Ryder Cup team. He lives in Orlando. He's not playing golf this past week. Instead, he was on a tour of Italy with a bunch of other Ferrari owners driving their Ferraris around Italy. Mm-hmm. I guess that's all right. oh, do I play golf this week or do I drive my Ferrari around Italy with a bunch of other guys? I not a bad way. Not a bad way
No.
to spend your week, I would think.
Right.
Some other injury news. Um, Michelle Wee, who has been struggling with coming back from hand surgery.
Oh yeah, right.
It basically sidelined her last fall. Came back to play in the KPMG LPGA Championship. Carded the worst 2 rounds of her career. She shot 84-82 and missed the cut spectacularly, I guess. Not good. Some people are saying they don't know if she'll be able to regain any of her form because of, when you think about how integral your hands are
pivotal
to the game of golf. I mean, you hold the club. I mean, if it's not
all about
right
the
or
feel, the grip, everything. Yeah.
I mean, if it hurts you to put it in a certain, where you're used to, and you start making
other adjustments, right?
And next thing you know, everything's gone.
Right.
So,
but she's a sweetheart. So
yeah,
we wish her the best.
Yep. She says, quote, "It's hard. It's just one of those situations where I'm not entirely sure how much more I have left in me." So that's not a good sign.
That's not encouraging.
No, that's not encouraging. Makes you kind of wonder what maybe her doctors are telling her.
Yeah.
Wow, that's too bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Michelle. She's a nice kid. I mean, I gave her a little bit of, I gave her a lot of grief when she was playing on the PGA Tour a couple of times,
right?
And I realized a lot of that had to do with her dad pushing her, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Phil Mickelson, after a not so great performance in the U.S. Open, says that he probably won't ever win the U.S. Open, and this is the only major he lacks from winning all 4 of them. Remember, many years ago he came close.
Yeah.
Until he hit his shot on 18 into the hospitality area.
Whoops.
And we talked about how Tiger back when he won the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach, back in, was it 07, I believe, or whenever it was, or 05,
right.
when he won the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach on Saturday of that round, he got down to his last golf ball on the 18th hole, which meant if he hit it left into Carmel Bay, he was basically done. He would have been DQ'd because he was playing a ball that was approved to play, but it was a prototype ball that he was the only one that had. So it wasn't like he could borrow a golf ball, because the rules say you must play the same brand, same
ball,
same type of golf ball for the entire round.
Right.
He wouldn't have been able to borrow, like a Pro V1 from one of the other guys in his group to finish the hole. That wouldn't have been allowed. European Challenge Tour pro Clement Berardo lost his last golf ball on the 16th hole of the European Tour event and was DQ'd. Ran out of golf balls.
Game over.
Go home.
Yikes.
That's gotta suck.
All right.
That's really gotta suck. I mean, and who do you blame? Do you blame yourself? Do you blame your caddy? Why didn't you throw another sleeve of balls in there? Boss, have you tried hauling this thing around? It weighs 50 pounds.
Right.
Oh, man.
All right.
Speaking of lost golf balls.
All right, we're going to see if we can find something.
We're going to see if we can find some.
All right.
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Again?
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
Wrong hat.
I take a 7.5.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
And welcome back to the Wednesday Night Golf Show, the Hump Day edition
Humpday.
on WSTU Radio, WSTUtv.com. For those of you that want to watch us on the internet and check us out on our webcam and give us a call and say hi.
Yeah.
772-220-9788 is the number.
Now, we spoke to somebody from South America, wasn't it, recently? And
Yeah, they've got that putting thing going on, that professional putting tour. They're playing that up at Orange County National in Orlando.
Right.
I'm interested to see how that pans out.
Well, I think
Could be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. But what I find more interesting is the fact that they are avid listeners to your show every week.
Yeah, all the way down to Colombia.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
I think that's a lot to be said for that. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure we have listeners all over the planet.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Maybe even
Power
on
of the internet.
Maybe even on the space station.
Could
You
be.
never know.
Yes. Well,
We'll take that.
astronauts play golf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know that.
Right.
They played it on the moon. What was it? A 5-iron, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. And it was the content. So for our uninitiated listeners, there is a device that they had when they first landed on the moon during the Apollo missions called the contingency collector. And what it was a miniature dustpan.
There's a lot of dust on the moon.
So it was just a pole with a scoop at the very bottom, and the scoop was threaded into the pole.
Okay.
And
So you could change what apparatus was on the end of it, if you so desired.
I think for storage purposes, they too.
Yeah.
But so they could break it down. So the idea was the first thing that they do when they land on the moon, once they disembark from the lunar lander, is to scoop up some of that lunar soil, right? And if they had to leave in a hurry, at least they came back with something.
Okay.
That was the contingency collector.
If the Martians were suddenly, closing in on the lunar lander, they could. Okay.
So this particular astronaut, what he did was he was an avid golfer. And so
wasn't that Alan Shepard?
It was Alan Shepard.
Okay.
Yes. And so Alan Shepard and this was Apollo 14. He went to a golf company, manufacturing company, and he showed him his he spirited out the pole, which you're not supposed to do.
Can you imagine that you're in there doing inventory for the Apollo mission and you're going, damn it, I'm missing the collector thing. What? Where is that? You're looking underneath the desk. You can't find it. In the meantime, Alan Shepard's driving in one of those Corvettes that everybody in the Apollo program got.
Right.
He's driving down the road.
And so he took the pole with him, and he had him fashion a golf head that would thread on the bottom of the pole. So that became his golf club. And so that's the backstory there on that.
And he took a very odd swing. He couldn't put both hands on it and swing because of the suit he was in.
Right. Like the Michelin Man, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Just, so very, very difficult to move around in those spacesuits because it's, a big atmosphere environment they had to create around you. And it's very important to protect you from the non-existent lunar atmosphere. Right. So
that's pretty neat.
Right. So very, very cool. Yeah. Alan Shepard, quite a guy.
Yeah.
Quite a guy indeed.
Yeah. Now he got to play on the moon.
Yes.
Which was pretty cool.
Yes.
Well, Joey Hines is a club pro, and he has now played all 118 courses that have hosted a major championship.
Cool.
The last round he had to play, the last place he had to go was at the Shawnee Inn, which hosted the 1938 PGA Championship. He played that course last week, and he has now played all 118 courses that have. I want to know how he got on Augusta. That's what I want to know.
Right.
Maybe I could call him and say, you know what, I'm trying to play every single one. Would you? There was actually a story one time in Golf Digest. They come out with their top 50 courses or whatever it was. And this one guy from Chicago wanted to play one of the more elite, more hard to get on golf courses that was on the list.
Right.
And he called them and he says, "Hey, I'm trying to play all these top 50 courses and I need your course, to help fill out my thing.
Right.
Is there any way I could get out there to play?" And I guess he caught him on a really generous day because they were like, "Yeah, sure.
Why not?
You know what? Yeah, but that's kind of a cool thing you're doing. All right, come on out and play." So he went and played. And they said, "Well, how many more do you have to go?" When he got done playing, 49. It was the first one he got. It was the first one he did.
That was brilliant.
I was like, what a great way to get on.
Right.
So maybe I can try that with Augusta. Who knows?
Well, I think that's marvelous. And he was 100% honest.
Yeah.
And that was his mission.
Yeah. And they didn't ask him until he was done.
Don't ask, don't tell.
It wasn't like he lied.
Right.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
Speaking of Augusta National and the Masters, 4 members of a Texas family pled guilty to charges of conspiracy to commit wire fraud in connection with what Georgia prosecutors say was a scheme to use false identities to purchase Masters tickets.
We heard about this a little bit last week.
Now, in order to get the right to buy them, you have to enter a lottery. You have to go by their website. You fill out the form. You give them your name, and only one person per household is allowed in.
Correct.
So it's not like you and your spouse and your kids and everybody else can all. No,
aunts and uncles, grandparents.
You got 10 people living in your house. You get one shot.
Right.
It's just you. You got one shot. So and then they have a raffle, so to speak, and they pull the lucky winners out. And if they pull your name, you get a chance to buy tickets.
Right.
Well, what they were doing was they were basically using other people's identities and social security numbers and all to get more chances in the drawing.
Wow.
And therefore getting tickets that they then flipped and sold either through eBay or some other ticket service. Stephen Michael Freeman has agreed to a 3-year prison sentence and will pay more than $150,000 in restitution. His parents, Steve and Diane Freeman, each have agreed to pay $59,000 in restitution. So I hope they sold those tickets for a lot of money because they're out of that's a pretty heavy fine. Wow. And he's getting 3 years. So you think about it, 3 years, he's not going to be working.
Yeah.
So he loses all that plus the $150,000 that. I hope it was worth it. Man.
Yeah.
Tony Romo was supposed to play in the Northeast Amateur and had to withdraw in the middle of the 3rd round.
Oh, what happened to Tony?
Well, Tony Romo, his back flared up on him. And he battled a little bit of that towards the end of his football career.
Yeah.
And apparently now, it probably ain't a whole lot easier to swing a golf club with a bad back than it was to throw a football. So that's going to be painful.
Oh, he's a pretty good golfer too.
Yeah. Speaking of quarterbacks, was watching, don't know if anybody else saw it this Saturday, was watching the Champions Tour event. And they had, I guess they do this at every Champions. They have like a Super Legends or a Legends event. And it's basically an exhibition. And they put a Champions Tour legend with a celebrity or something like that. And they play a 2-person scramble against another 2-person team. And the event I was watching, Jack Nicklaus was playing, and his partner was Brett Favre.
Oh, wow.
And they were playing against...
These are very 2 competitive athletes.
Yeah, they were playing against Andy North.
Okay.
And, what's the guy that's the country western singer that is the Red Solo Cup song?
Oh, yeah. I don't remember.
They were a team.
Wow.
And it was fun watching them play. And Brett Favre looks like he could go out and play football right now. He's in tremendous shape. He looks really good. Wow. His golf swing looks pretty good too. And it was funny because they were, Jack is serious. I don't think there was anybody more serious on the golf course than Jack Nicklaus was back in the day. He was, when he was in his zone and he was playing competitive in a tournament round, I don't think he knew anything else existed.
Toby Keith.
Toby Keith. There you go.
All right. I knew I'd come up with it for you.
But watching him play in this event and the good-natured ribbing he was giving everybody else was pretty funny to watch. And all of them hit some good shots. I was kind of surprised. And Toby Keith, he might not. I mean, he's a typical decent amateur golfer. I mean, he hit some really good shots, and then he hit a shot that was like, okay, I see why you don't play this for a living. But the man could putt.
Yeah.
The man could putt. Andy North was helping him read some putts, and he made some good putts. They only played 9 holes, and Nicklaus and Favre wound up winning, I think, by 1 shot. But it was fun to watch, and the people were eating it up.
I bet.
And the gallery was having a good time, and these guys are all behind the leaders of the tournament that are playing,
right?
And they've got as many people following them, and they're playing just for grins and giggles,
right?
And these other guys are playing for a championship, and they got more people following them around. I guess a lot of it had to do with Jack playing, but still, and the fact that they were up in Wisconsin, and Brett Favre's pretty much a folk hero in.
I think so.
All the way up there,
right?
But it was neat to watch. It was pretty cool. I was like, this kind of a neat idea. I like this. If you're familiar with this time of year, you know that a lot of golf courses they do what's called aerification. They aerify their greens and fairways, and that's done by basically punching a whole bunch of little holes in the turf. And the idea is to get air and nutrients and water down past the compacted top layer of dirt that's right underneath the grass.
All right. And
a lot of people don't like to play the golf course right after that because it's a little bumpy,
a little spongy.
Well, that and the fact that you try to roll putts on the greens and they tend to want to bounce around a lot. But
that's not good.
No. But if you're interested in a pretty good golf bargain, Martin Downs, they just got done aerifying their golf course earlier this week. And today, tomorrow, and Friday, it's $15 to play around a golf out at Martin Downs.
Wow.
So if you want to go play out there.
Can't afford not to go.
For $15,
yeah,
I'll put up with a few bouncy putts.
Yeah.
You just get your buddies to agree that, if it's close, it would have gone in. I know some guys that play that.
Sounds good to me.
It's close enough. That's good. And I'm not counting the one before that either. So there you go, folks. That's it, man.
That's it. We did it.
We did it. We got through it. We got through a Wednesday night golf show without our co-host. We missed him.
Yeah.
Hopefully Arlen will be back with us next week. But
yeah.
Hey, appreciate that he's got to work.
Yeah, there you go.
He's probably making somebody a better golfer. That's good. That'd be a good thing. And that's it for us, folks. Have a great rest of the night. Try to stay cool.
Yes.
Remember to hydrate.
Yes.
Put your sunscreen on.